Are you looking to start a podcast? Yes! Then see this episode's show notes for our unique promo code to get up to 2 months of free podcasting service with Libsyn when you sign up for a new account. Get your show on Apple and Spotify. Get helpful audience building stats and all the support you need to sound your best. They can even do video. Bring your podcast to life and have your voice heard here, there, and everywhere with Libsyn. Again, see our show notes for our unique Libsyn promo code and get podcasting.
This is Jed MacKay, and you're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Welcome back, Looney listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 344, and of course, we're with both of your High Priest of Khonshu, Rebecca. Hello.
Hi.
Ready for our last hours, so to speak, I guess?
Yes, the last hours of Black Spectre and the last hours of the 2023. Bring it on.
Yes. So
fully on board. No. not entirely ready for Marc, but
no.
Ready to get rid of 2023, I should say.
Oh yeah, me too. I mean, it's kind of just like lingering now. It's kind of a bit withered and dumb. Yeah. Ready for a fresh slate. But Loonies, of course, as Rebecca and myself have been alluding to, we are looking at Moon Knight 29 in this episode. It's a Moonshine. It's the latest and greatest from Jed MacKay and Federico Sabatini. It is the penultimate issue to quite a good run, Rebecca. I mean, I think sales-wise,
quite a good run. I mean,
yeah,
pretty well praised run. Yeah, no, I mean,
there's
not many runs that get to issue 30, and obviously, I mean, it's carrying, the story is carrying straight on into Vengeance of the Moon Knight, so that's all really one long run. But it's quite something to like have it draw to the end at the same time as the year. Really, it's like kind of weird timing, but cool timing. Feels do you think, epic.
Yeah, look, I'm just wondering. I'm projecting way ahead, Rebecca, and if Vengeance of the Moon Knight or Vengeance of Moon Knight, if that reaches 30, do you reckon, or 31, would you reckon Jed would be a bit miffed that technically that's the longest running 61 issues? That would be. Do you think he's worried about that sort of thing at all, or just happy to?
I don't think so. I think I mean, as we all know with Dan Slott and Brian Bendis on Spider-Man, they're usually fairly aware of these things and they can tweak it if they want. I mean, I guess, it depends if you include the annuals for this run.
Mm-hmm.
And
two number ones.
Yeah, I mean, they're always annual number one, but I always see them strictly as part of the run. So I don't know. There's always ways of tweaking the numbers. I think he must be happy to bring it to an end of this chapter, and he obviously wanted to carry on into Vengeance of. So by the way, a cat just completely crossed my screen, and she's too small, and you all missed it.
I was about to say, for those that do see the video, I thought your curtain just moved by itself. I was like, oh, it's a bit spooky.
That was the cat that was in the window, but she's below the camera. Ozzy can't do that; he's way too big. But Larky can just sail under it.
Why not? Get lucky in before the end of the year. Of course, we've got our honorary, as Khonshu used to say, our honorary high priests wandering around. So, of course, as well, a huge thank you and thank you for everything this year to the Patronis, to our Patreon members, as well as our sponsors as well, CLZ Comics and Dreamland Comics as well. Thanks for sticking with us. It's great. We're it wasn't that long ago, Rebecca, that we were recording just
28
episode that's been a while. But we're getting some attraction towards the end of the year, only for it to probably Probably stop. Okay.
No, we should. What this time? So
Yep.
what we forgot to do last time, which I
Mhm.
don't know if people listen beyond our kind of this is the end of the episode, the end of the thing. We forgot
Mhm.
to mention the waxing and waning book
Yes, of
at the
course.
top of the episode, and
Yes.
we promised ourselves that we would not skip it this time. So we did mention it in the episode, but we mentioned it
Yep.
at the end. Waxing and waning, essays on Moon Knight, with a ton of authors,
Yes.
including people very close to our hearts, and
Mhm.
in the podcast Facebook group and Discord.
Yep.
And so essays edited by Scott Weatherly, forward by David Finch, by Sequart. I don't know if that's
Mhm.
the publisher, but readily available anywhere you can buy books. And I think it's on Amazon basically.
Yeah.
There's Kindle edition,
Mhm.
and that came out end of November. So
Mm.
I've still waiting to see if someone's bought me it as a Christmas present, and
Mhm.
if not, I will be buying it. And I'm very looking forward to everyone's essays. So if you
Oh,
contributed,
yes.
I'm so impressed. I thought about it, and I was like, I do not have the discipline to make sure I get anything to anyone in time, and I could not be happier to sit and read everyone else's work. And once we've read it, we will talk about it more.
Mhm.
But look, there's not many characters that get this kind of spotlight, and not only because we know some of the writers, but I think it's just really cool. So
Oh, yeah.
check it
Sure.
out.
I will be immersing myself in all the essays as well. And Rebecca, just wanted to say as well, you were mentioning some of our fantastic community, fellow fans as well. And I just want to shout out Lena as well. So Lena's reached out, would love to have Lena on
Definitely.
so Lena's very keen to jump on and to chat about it because they had
Yeah, that would be great. That would
contributed.
be great. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously we'll try to get Scott, friend of the show as well. Those of you who may remember ages ago, Scott has come on. He's done an Isle of Ra too. He has a great podcast show as well, 20th Century Geek, amongst other things. So yeah, definitely go check it out. And Rebecca, if anything, maybe put a pin on ordering it. That's all okay. So, um, with that, of course, we do have a lot of business, Rebecca, to attend to.
We do.
Very important business. Shall we get rolling?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, as mentioned, we have 29,
I
the
know.
last days of Moon Knight. Now, again, a little reminder for those who have been listening, Rebecca, you were privy to this whilst we were recording.
I was.
episode
I
28.
just read it. When we read 28, I'd literally just read it, and I was like,
Right.
"Oh, we got." I think you got a few things wrong,
Yes, fantastic.
but in a very charming and excitable way.
Yes.
Which made it very easy to go along with it because you were so happy with it. Like, so.
Let me just say, I'm never playing poker with you, Rebecca, because you held. Oh, really?
I was trying so hard at
all.
one point, like with some of the soldier stuff. I was trying so hard, like,
yeah. But yes, 29. This is fantastic. Of cover, of course. I think it's Steven Segovia. Yes, Steven Segovia still with Rochelle Rosenberg. So as mentioned, it's the final hours of Moon Knight. We've got Jed MacKay, Federica Sabatini, and Rochelle Rosenberg. I'm assuming Sabatini is going to round out everything, maybe even 30. What do you reckon, Rebecca?
So, yeah.
Yeah, just to keep consistency.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I imagine Capuccio's working on
Yes.
Vengeance, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Rochelle Rosenberg, this is the team, I think, very consistent. This is Corey Pettit as well. And I did mention the cover art, Steven Segovia with Rochelle Rosenberg, but we have other ones by Iben Coelho and Jesus Berthoff, as well as in Hewick Lee. And of course, the assistant editors and editors, Martin Byro, Annalise Bisa and Tom Brevoort.
Well, I should just say initially that
Mhm.
listed on Forbidden Planet for Moon Knight 30 is Capuccio.
Oh, okay. So he just needed those couple of issues to ready himself. Okay, cool.
Let's have a look on. I'm just getting through to it on the Marvel website just in case Forbidden Planet's messed up.
Okay.
Yeah, Capuccio.
Capuccio.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I mean, look, we know. I mean, and listeners who have listened again know you and I absolutely love Sabatini as well. But I know a lot of other loonies will be very excited that.
I mean, look,
Capuccio
Capuccio is still to me the artist on this run, and Sabatini's still the second artist on the run. But I just think like the whole of them have become this kind of family of Moon Knight.
Yes.
And yeah, I after that first issue, I think when I was like getting used to Sabatini's art, I now it's not seamless, but it's I obviously I'll be able to tell which one it is, but I feel more seamless about it. Like it's like, oh, that's a Sabatini issue, up, down. Same with Capuccio. I mean, I think it's lovely he gets to do the final issue, Capuccio, and then going into Vengeance, but wouldn't have bothered me either way.
Yeah, for sure. And there's some certain striking, I think, styles or looks that Sabatini does give to Moon Knight. We'll get into that, of course. Rebecca, look, I'm not going to subject you to any poorly written synopses, but if we were to like just, in a couple of words, sum up this issue for those, again, spoilers, everybody. So we are going to dive deep into it, but like just as a summary of this story, how would you kind of frame it?
I think this is really putting all the last pieces into place before the finale. We get to find out what was happening to some of the people we weren't so sure about last issue. We get to find out who this Black Spectre is. We get a little bit more color to the whole plot. The actual summary they have at the front of the comic is if you've actually forgotten what Sarnak was up to, they tell you what he's up to, which is kind of cool. We get Hunter's Moon into it. We get Soldier into it. We find out what happened. Obviously, we were left with a cliffhanger of Zodiac going into the Midnight Mission. So all of that's kind of now has to fall out so we can get a very impactful final issue. So it's a little bit more shuffling people around. I don't know if it has a plot so much as such. It's just there's a few really interesting sort of things that happen though, I think.
Yeah, and overall, have you, as you said, you're like it's very true. There is in a ways it's a lot of kind of setting up as well, but in no less an entertaining fashion.
Yeah, I mean, like that has to play a role in comics because it can't all be payoff. Like there has to be some setup, and I found this one's at quite an exciting point in the story, obviously.
And what did you think? First impressions after you read it just before we recorded for issue 28?
I didn't realize how hard that would be. I just want. I mean, I'm glad that there's only the 2-week gap to 30. I didn't look at the preview for 30, which I know is up on the Facebook page. I want to go into 30 completely clear, and I don't feel that very often. That I want to know. I've not really heard people talking about 30, like, and I usually do read the previews because I'm like, they always turn you a bit upside down. They're a bit out of context. You're only 4 pages, but this one I just want to. There's the same feelings, but it's all a bit nearer now. I mean, obviously, comics can very rarely pull off the stunt of killing someone and having it feel super impactful because we know what happens to comic deaths. This case, we know we've got Vengeance of the Moon Knight coming up. I think last time I sort of said where I think that's going to go. So I don't know if that takes out of the impact of what might happen in 30. I mean, presumably Marc's going to get killed. Pending comic shenanigans. So it feels kind of almost nice to be getting there. because there's so much like chatter and it feels like we've kind of got that out of the way, and now we're getting to see it from Jed's perspective, which is the person writing the story alongside the artist who's helping interpret it and adding layers to it and flavors to it, because the creative team is a creative team, but we want to see where this has all been going this whole time. With Sarnak's been in the comics for a long time.
Yes.
The Black Spectre threat has been under the whole way, and Zodiac. Well, it's interesting. I mean, that's how you feel, or like what are you thinking ahead of one more episode to go?
Sorry, what am I thinking as well?
Yeah.
I mean, well, partly due to what we saw in 29, what I find really kind of fascinating, and I totally agree with you with all aspects of comic book deaths and what we can expect, and how this one, I don't know, because we're covering it on the show and we're kind of interacting with a lot of fellow fans as well. It's kind of, as you say, very communal feel to it. And we've had the privilege to chat with the likes of Jed. So as it's culminating, it's something slightly different in that regards. And also I think in another way, what we see here and in 28, it's almost kind of like a slow death for Moon Knight, like where you get like the death of whatever, Doctor Strange or whatever, or any of those other ones that recently happened. They generally kind of like die in a big moment. We get here like Marc, he's been battered and stabbed and bruised already, and we see in 29 he gets shot. So it kind of adds to that weight where you're kind of like, oh gosh, he's really suffering, and we know because of the title of this arc what is going to happen, and of course the solicits and stuff. But I think by doing that, it really adds a bit more, because in some ways Jed's kind of not drawing it out, but he's really making the most, I guess, of
he's giving us, and I kind of like that kind of, because so often things get spoiled in solicits or from chat, and sort of taking over these last days. I mean, I'm sure there's a marketing decision there to like not have it all in one issue, but also I feel like we're getting the story fleshed out in ways we want it fleshed out, right? I do love the opening page here with just bloodiness. Like we've not seen a lot of bloodiness on. We tend to see it for brief amounts of time on that white costume, and to see the cloak there.
I love
blooded up.
I love how Rosenberg and or Sabatini have decided to depict it. I mean, we saw it in 28 as well. It's just it's a real splatter across the
it's a real Dragon Age splatter, as I call it, because famous for their blood splatter.
Oh yeah, exactly. But here to see it with Hunter's Moon, I think Sabatini's art, he does really well with these kind of
he's really good
brooding
with kinetic stuff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was a really cool opening, and we see the carnage that Hunter's Moon can inflict. I mean, he's just decimated Sarnak's minions. Sarnak's running scared, but the artwork I think is a absolute highlight as you open it up, and I think it's really good. I mean, this is all non-stop action. We get so Jed has set it up, so we get obviously the big two, Moon Knight and Black Spectre. We get Hunter's Moon off against Sarnak. We get Reese and Zodiac, and then Soldier and Tigra, Greer. And it's really cool that we can get to jump in between the two. And
there's
I
just
think in
some
that way,
lovely moments in these action sequences. So we have this great action sequence, and again the coloring is just superlative. I don't think we've seen this many yellows and greeny yellows on the next page and on this page. Like right at the top there, it kind of goes greeny yellow, amber, red. Again, like kind of almost traffic light there. If you read the top as a little bit green, which it looks to me.
Yeah, right.
And we get some proper violence from Sarnak, proper violence, like good
if I can
beating up.
Yeah, I mean, if I can, like a small little point here, I did find sometimes, I guess, with the style of Sabatini and, I guess the costumes of Moon Knight and Black
Yeah.
Spectre, you kind of lose like that last panel at the bottom. And again, for listeners, we are looking at visuals on our video version of this. You can lose like what is
You
happening.
can.
Like, is that a knee? Is that a knee to his stomach? I can't. In that
I
last,
don't know. I
yes,
honestly don't know. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if it matters. I mean,
No,
I
it doesn't really.
agree. No, I 100% agree, especially on that panel.
Mm.
But I don't know. I think to me, it encompasses the messiness of close combat.
Yes. Oh, and it's
And then,
exactly.
yeah,
Tattered.
do you know what I mean? It's like, so that's why I'm saying I don't care. And then the
Yeah.
fact that it segues into Reese who cannot move is just beautiful to me, that you have this really action-packed sequence at the beginning where they're throwing punches, swords, whatever, and then you suddenly get she cannot move. And it's just like that
Yeah,
massive, like that
that's a
big
good point.
difference between what's going on. And she has these thundering footsteps come down the hall.
Yeah, and look again, and I love this sequence as well. Again, don't get me wrong. I'm loving Sabatini's art,
Yeah.
and it's just little pointers. So for this particular page as well, I did wonder, look, just at first, what was happening. So I'm assuming that Soldier's coming and he's dragging someone back into the shadows. That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
so what I
Yeah.
feel is he is going to put another body on the plate so she can step off the plate, because it's a plate trigger.
Right. Yeah.
So he needed a body. So
because at first I thought, actually,
I was like,
yeah,
I was like, is someone crawling up to come and jump on her? Yeah.
that's right. But yeah, so it got lost a little there. But I guess you've got the 3 booms with Tigress. So
Either that or there's actually, if you go to the next page, he's not dragging anyone. Maybe that body's just there.
I think he just shot him and they're crawling to their death, like they're crawling the last death throes, and they probably just But I then thought he actually, in the case of like aliens or whatever, he pulled them backwards. But
maybe.
So it's kind of ambiguous. I'm assuming that
I mean,
they
that
got
gun,
shot.
jeez.
It's an awesome. I love his costume as well.
I mean, I see he's got the little Moon Knight. He's given himself some little Moon Knight. So, and it's not looking unlike the new costume.
No.
In terms of being a black costume.
Oh, yeah.
But no,
That's
it's obviously
true.
not the new costume, but having the little, I'm going to stay as part of the Moon Knight crew by drawing a little moon on it. Bless him.
It's so cool. Yeah.
I love him. But also, it makes absolute sense. This is his wheelhouse, is like, getting people off bombs.
That's true, yeah, and the added fact that I love that we get the tinge of his red eyes, just to not forget that, because it's a great way of explaining it. Tiger's going, "How did you get up here?" He goes, "Well, I can't die, right?" And I just
and there was a lot of blood to heal myself, so you get the kind of vampire.
I thought that was pretty clever. And then of course,
and can we just say though, I just want to point this out. Boss told me about your situation. Marc called it in, saying, "Come help Tigra." What a sweetheart. On his way to confront Black Spectre. And he's like, I'm not just going to leave her there. Come on, soldier. Sort her out.
Yeah. That's very
beautiful.
cool.
Beautiful.
Nah, and he's done well. And he's really, I think, Soldier has been missing for a bit. I say that he's probably been the least developed out of the crew, but he's really coming into his own now. Like, I was really glad to see him here. And typically, dare I say, I didn't get much interest off him other than when he got turned into a vampire.
And also, we've not seen him and Tigra interact so much. So this is kind of sweet when she's like going, "Oh, I should have let Marc take you," and he's like, "No, I hear you smelled the bomb. I wouldn't have been able to do that. I'd have just blown up."
Yeah. Speaking of vampires as well,
speaking of vampires, yeah,
the Midnight Mission. We get a little elsewhere. Kind of thing. Zodiac, it's so funny because for me, it's really weird because he's so well prepared and he plans for stuff, but you just know when he goes into the Midnight Mission that he's out of his depth.
He's just an idiot. No, I'm sorry. I'm not like, he's an idiot. He does have these grand schemes and things like that. And it's not that he's not prepared, but it's also just like, I can't take him seriously with his
Yeah.
silly
Well,
necklace. And
still
this
got
argument, I do not buy the argument on this page. I think it's
so
absolute comics rubbish.
yeah. Oh no, well that's just Zodiac being a dick, really, isn't it?
Well,
It's
I
just
don't know. I think it is questioning why vampires don't like crucifixes.
oh yeah, oh yes, of
And
course that kind of as well.
yeah, I mean, like, and there's a couple of films where they've done it with a Mag and David, but generally not. Generally, it's just crucifixes, Holy Land. We don't have a. I mean, we do have a concept of holy ground, but not in the same kind of way. But he's like taking it very literally, and like, oh, so it's a holy symbol, and I believe in myself, so I'm a holy symbol. Doesn't quite work that way. But
No.
bless you, let's give it a go, Zodiac.
I'm surprised that you have Reese almost playing along. I would have portrayed her in that middle panel at least to have some sort of maybe bewildered or quizzical look.
Maybe comics wise this is going to work, and let her be a little bit freaked out about it. But like, yeah.
Oh yeah, and see, this is so cool because it does cut so quickly between you with that last page of Zodiac and Rishi. You half expect it to continue, but we get straight back into Moon Knight. He's getting his ass whooped here, and we know that. Okay, well, spoilers. We know that this is Black Spectre, but it's not the Black Spectre. But they're having a good old tussle as well, and. What's he? Let me say. Oh yeah, this was I think Moon Knight's been all really perplexed as to the lengths that Black Spectre has gone to get to Moon Knight, and he pretty much confirmed it here. Like, I just want to kill you. That's all.
Yeah, I'm sick of this. I'm tired. Just let me kill you.
Yeah. And the good old I wasn't aiming for your head thing.
Yeah, I am now.
Yeah, really, really cool. I love this sort of macho speak from the superheroes that Jed writes in. It's just it's kind of like action film. And I hate making comparisons with cinema, but it's just the way I can think of.
No, think of it. Totally fine.
Hunter's Moon, of course, he's not doing well. That's not his blood, I'm assuming, but he does look a little bit injured.
I mean, he's been severely beaten up, so yeah, that would make sense.
Oh, okay, because he's smashed everyone, didn't he? But I guess obviously,
yeah. But I mean, like, you still get injured in those kinds of fights,
Yeah, but there's not really much more here. Just that Sarnak, oh my gosh, a little bit of prodding, and he just gives away the game.
Yeah, totally and utterly.
Yeah, all to do with the conduits, the broadcast system, how they were going to, carry out their plans. But we get the reveal, and I remember looking at this page, Rebecca, going, okay, I'm not going to read. I'm just going to. This is the reveal, and I was trying to figure out who the face was.
Right.
I couldn't for the life of me think of who it was, but it is.
You know who it looks like though? Like not before they say it. It looks a bit like North Star.
Yeah, true.
It does.
Look,
it
could be a Jamie Madrox,
but not.
dupe.
No.
No. But as Ryan Trent. So for those who obviously Loonies, the big Moon Knight fans would know that he featured back in the Warren Ellis, Declan Shalvey run, issue 6. Most notably, he was an ex-cop, and just somehow I can't remember the details. Took on the mantle of Black Spectre. For me, this was a little bit of an anticlimax, Rebecca, but I guess that's
the point, though, isn't it? That is the point.
I was kind of like, Ryan Trent, really? And this amazing art here where Moon Knight just gets splattered with more guns. I'm assuming the Kevlar has saved him. More bullets. So as everyone's trying to get to Marc, to Moon Knight, he's revealed to them who it is, Ryan Trent. But of course, that's not the real thing. So this is what I was talking about, Rebecca.
Yeah.
He pretty much is kind of like, wow, okay, he survived that. He's not going to survive much longer, surely. And not only that, but the real Black Spectre kind of separates them, which I thought was
smart.
Smart, and really, like, I I can't see Moon Knight winning this one now.
I just
sort
like
of scenario.
I was just so one of these panels, the one where he says Spectre's down, in the previous page. Yeah, there. I think there. Yeah. He says Spectre's down, and I just got a little bit obsessed with the idea of like if you just spelt that wrong or differently, you could be talking about either of the combatants.
I
and
thought
how
exactly.
funny that is with the Spectre fight.
Yeah,
I
thought
I don't know
exactly the
why.
same
Just
thing.
like because I'm always saying Black Spectre and always saying Moon Knight. You
Yeah.
don't always like, but for some reason when he said like it's Marc saying Spectre's down, I'm like, oh, okay. And then he's
Yeah.
very much down the next panel. So
He is very much now. My God,
Yeah.
beautiful blood red, vibrant
bang,
red.
bang, 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 bang.
It's a full. That's not a full stop. That is a traffic light red there, Rebecca.
That's
for
an
sure.
absolute traffic light red. Yeah.
So and of course, so the other Black Spectre, the mask was a bit obscured, and it's over here, which I think it's great here that you see it's that modern Black Spectre mask, and you know immediately as a reader, okay, this is the real one because this is more, more consistent with everything. And okay, this is really cool. I really enjoyed the cutback here with Zodiac, and I loved how Reese was using. Like Zodiac looks really worried.
He looks really perplexed. His little eyes, like what?
Yeah,
do that
because he shot an arrow, and all of a sudden
she
she's
just turned
gone.
to miss. Thanks, Blade.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that was absolutely awesome. And she kind of reforms again.
Yeah.
Actually, I was just thinking about her her outfit, Rebecca. I kind of think that's pretty cool, actually. Like,
pretty cool.
It was a nice little design.
Yeah.
And it kind of plays off her, I don't know if it's anything to do with it, but the mist, nice kind of like a red purple.
It means Rochelle gets a chance to do the pinks and purples that we've had. Everything else really has been very traffic light for the last few issues. With Zodiac and Reese, they've both got purples, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah, and it's the Midnight Mission. She seeks the Midnight Mission on Zodiac, and how can you win against that?
I don't know, but I love it. But like, that's such a great panel. Falling into the house.
So I think Zodiac is, I think that might be the end of him. We see it like it's obscure enough that he might just be stuck in there.
I'd like to see the house like throw him out on the street into something, but like But I'm gonna say this, but I don't mean it as badly as it's gonna sound.
Mm-hmm.
But like number one, without his necklace, but also like I'm just gonna rephrase it. In his underpants or something, like where he's like totally like got nothing. I was going to say without his clothes, and that would have sounded much dodgier than what I meant to say, which was like just take all of that and just like throw him out there, and there to be a cop walking down the street or something.
Exactly. I mean, take his mask off as well. We know what he looks like.
Yeah, too. Take all of his accoutrements.
Yes,
just get rid of him.
Belittle him because he's such a pain. So I'm glad that Reese had no problem with him at all, and it is a good sign that she's more assured with her powers, and she seems to have accepted it because she had that struggle as well earlier on.
Yeah, of course.
So we get to I guess the last couple of pages here, Rebecca. We get a full look at Black Spectre, who's looking very I don't know.
I mean, I do think if they'd finished it with that page, like before we go to the Midnight Mission and we get that, we can have a nice chat like we used to, and they'd finished it there, I wouldn't have been surprised, but I'm glad that we get this. I'm glad we get the reveal.
And I mean, what do you make of I'm not sure if I've asked you what you make of the Black Spectre costume, the new one.
I quite like it. I mean, I was never like really into the costume and not into the costume. They're just fine to me. Then they neither, it doesn't stand out as one I love. It doesn't. I really like the mask. The rest of the stuff is just like, well, it looks relatively comfy and easy to fight in, except for the long flowing skirty bit. Might not be as easy to fight in, but it looks cool and practical-ish.
Yeah, it looks cool and scary. Look, I love the original costume as well because it's so like memorable, and it's really I don't know, just how to say, it's just really unique. But I feel if you want to kind of instill a bit more Fear. This is like a modern look. I mean, it's a bit
It
more of
is.
a horror
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of
Bit the
look,
horror
and
mask, the
yeah,
cool cape, and the rest of the outfit looks. It's also very good for hiding who it could be.
yeah. Oh, yes, exactly,
So
because you
it
don't
looks like,
know.
yeah, it works. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, like, whether or not you'd even need the Black Spectre moniker attached to it. Look, I understand
Oh, really?
why. Yeah, I mean, it could easily be a new villain, right? But I think by it's or them or saying that they are Black Spectre, obviously that works in well with the story and obviously the mechanics of the plot. But yeah, I think it's a pretty cool look. Be
Yes.
interested to know, yeah, what Russell. I know Russell's a big Black Spectre fan. I wonder what he thinks of the look. Yeah, so again, like, talking about horror, I love that last kind of panel, Rebecca, where
Yeah.
the back is turned to us,
Uh,
and
that it looks the best there.
isn't that so cool?
It looks
Because
so cool there.
that the yellow lighting and it's coming through the open eye holes of
Yeah.
the mask as he takes it off, and so it looks like it's looking back at you. It's really cool. But he's basically like Moon Knight's obviously in no condition to fight, and he's just kind of gloating, I guess.
He's gloating. He's like a bit of a laugh. You know, it's like, that's the
Yep.
thing. I am dead, aren't I? He's letting
Yeah.
like Marc go through it all, and then we get the final reveal.
I can't believe it, Rebecca.
I know.
There
I
he
mean,
is.
look, this
I
has
had a look.
clearly been something that people have speculated about and guessed ever since he was dead with no body.
Mm.
It was just one I never felt very strongly about. Like, I was sure he was going to turn up as something at some point. Interesting to see what the motivation is.
Yeah. Yeah, and for the record, I was totally wrong. I think I predict Plesko for the Moon Knight.
You did. He was one of your guesses, and we scanned over that very quickly. But to be fair, we did pretty much guess everyone who's been in
exactly.
Comic.
Well,
I mean, we did because like we even went through Rutherford Winner. We went through every many potentials.
Yeah, Rutherford
and
Winner,
it is funny because the more often we do it, the more I'm back to maybe it is just Marc. But no, I don't think so.
It could be like because I'm just catching up with my Daredevil. Sorry, was it Chip Zdarsky's run, but then Saladin Ahmed's current run, and it could be that where like Daredevil did die because he did die,
Yeah,
and
he did die.
He's come back and he's recently put on the red suit again. So in many ways, you could argue does Moon Knight do the same? We don't know.
Potentially. I mean, I still think that it'll follow. We will get a Marc resurrection, but at the end of Vengeance of the Moon Knight. So, but I'm open to anything. Like I like that we're still not sure. I like that we have the whole of the next issue to find out. Because I mean, if they said between issues, like, or if Moon Knight dies on the first page of the next issue, I wouldn't be all that shocked.
Yeah.
If we but because he's clearly on his last legs, so I'm expecting we'll get like Plesko telling you reasoning. And within the first, but who knows? Because as we've seen, Jed's very good at intercutting these things, and we do need to know how everyone else comes together. And it'll be very sad if and when Tigra and Soldier find the body.
Oh yeah, oh yes, for sure. And I'm already having visions, Rebecca, of the Avengers. I don't know whether they will attend his funeral because he's had a very strained relationship with them. Let's not forget that one of his, I guess, thoughts in that Morpheus issue was for him to kill the Avengers, or that was Morpheus's idea of what he thinks Marc would.
Yeah, I mean, I very much hope that that it's a proper Jewish funeral. If we, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. And let's not forget as well, because I think Jed had planted that in a previous issue, that Moon Knights can't be resurrected or come back because Khonshu's incarcerated. So we'll potentially have a nice juicy arc of I don't know, busting Khonshu out, or Khonshu's
I mean,
come out.
That's what I think Vengeance will be. But who knows?
And that would be so cool because isn't Khonshu on Asgard or something? So we could get really into, we could really start leaning into like another component of the Marvel universe and start looking at, having, I don't know, the likes of Sif and Fandral and all that. Like, can you imagine them up against Hunter's Moon or something? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be quite interesting.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too. But we have that, and you're right, a very short wait for the next one, the terminal second. I loved it. It was the last days, the last hours, and now the terminal seconds.
The terminal second. I mean, that implies he isn't lasting long into the next issue. You know?
Exactly.
I'm just saying that implies that bit's quite quick. But I think that's also the least interesting aspect. I mean, I think we'd all agree now is that as the fight is almost over, that the least interesting thing is the death. It's now everything like what the motivation is, what happens in the aftermath, how we get to vengeance, and who's the new Moon Knight. You know?
Yeah. Despite that, Rebecca, I was just thinking, because of what happened at Black Spectre, kind of blew out Tigra and Soldier out of the building. One of the things I am thinking about is I wonder if, similar to Plesko, will we get like a building explosion and no Moon Knight body, that sort of thing? So there's
right. So we don't have a body either.
Yeah. Or do we get that really sad scene of Tigra and Soldier, finding his body? So it'll be. Really
I think you're right. Actually, maybe it will be a big explosion. There's a lot of explosions around. So maybe he'll take the body. Oh my god, that would be terrible. That would be. I'm just trying to think which would be the worst one in Judaism. Well, we bury people really quickly. Like we bury them like next day if we can. So any delay to that is really bad. It's like that literally just like
right. Yeah. Certainly. So the impact of, I guess, how we'll die will be. We'll have to see. So I can't wait. Only a couple of weeks, Rebecca.
I mean, only a week now, really, for us.
Well, yeah.
Because we're a bit late. Well, we're not late. We're catching up. We're now back on track, I reckon. When the next issue comes out, we'll be able to record within the next couple of days.
Yeah.
If depending on pre-Christmas.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, obviously, that's a difficult time. So it may be later than that. It may be later than that. So I forgot about that.
That's okay.
About Christmas commitments and stuff.
I mean, I do have it lined up. I've still, at the time of this recording, still have to release the solo about David Propose's City of the Dead. So this will come out, listeners, as you're listening to it. It will come out obviously a little bit later than when it was released on the Wednesday. But yeah, Rebecca and I, don't worry, we are chomping. As soon as that issue 30, oh gosh, it'll be so cool.
As soon as we can, we'll be doing it. We want all your feedback for that one. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And speaking of feedback, Rebecca, we do thank you everyone that has generated some chatter about Moon Knight. It is great. I mean, we're heading towards the end. I guess a lot of people as well maybe are kind of happy already that we are getting vengeance. But you know, this is quite a milestone towards the end. So big things are happening. We got one bit of feedback from Mario at Digicom on our Facebook group. Hello, Mario. And Mario says the pieces are falling into place. Almost all of the supporting cast gets to show off as Reese gets to flex the skill she learned in that blade back up in the day. And Soldier has a chance to use his particular skill set, which you mentioned, Rebecca, in a pretty cool new costume. I love the costume. He needs a code name. Tigra is a bit underused. And where is 8-Ball? Very good point. 8-Ball's probably, I don't know, in his bath.
Well, I mean, the last thing we saw was him flying Marc there, right? So
that's right, yeah. And they crashed the jet, and then I don't know where he went.
I mean, it is an interesting question, is where's 8-Ball? I mean, he's clearly working on his Moon Knight cosplay outfit.
Absolutely, yeah. We all know he's the next Moon Knight. Mario continues. I also like that we get an explanation for Zodiac's new bling, one that makes a surprising amount of sense in retrospect, although it does require a bit of hand waving. Full disclosure time. While I mentioned that the first Black Spectre we see was the second in disguise, I got the idea from Reddit. Still a great swerve on Jed's part. Yeah, it was good. totally agree. As for the third Spectre, his true face stands revealed. And while he was always one of the leading candidates, I'm curious to hear Plesko's motivations. Yeah. If I had any quibble at all, it's that Sabatini fumbled the art a bit at one point, namely why Marc missed with his crescent dust. Yeah, that was another point, I guess, Rebecca, adding to the others that we just pointed out, just a little bit obscure. Like it was hard to kind of figure out. So I think Mario's picked that up. I had to read the page a few times to make sense of it. I'm going to have to take off a half a point for that. So call it a 9.5 for me. Wow. The next and final issue is going to be a banger. I can hardly wait. I'm sticking by my prediction for the last page, however. Welcome to the Midnight Mission. My name is Reese. How can I help? Awesome.
I mean, I think that's a very likely prediction.
Yes. Well, Moon Knight said that he gave her the keys, right? If anything goes.
Yeah, he basically said, if anything happens to me, it's yours. So I think that's what will be really interesting is if we get to see who's come in.
Yeah.
And if it's the new Moon Knight. But I think that would be a perfect way to end it. It bookends with the opening of of issue 1. It's become such a thing about the run is that when we see him in other things, we see that scene mirrored. So I mean, I would like it to end that way.
Yeah,
like that. I would love that to be. I mean, like it's very easy to agree with a prediction that you think is perfect, but I agree.
I'm just wondering, like, if Jed happens or happens to be listening, if he's going, "Oh God," actually all going on.
No, I mean, like, I think anytime we guess things that are from on the page stuff, I'm pretty sure he's cool with it. Yeah,
and they're and they're months ahead, like And
I think the more you wrap up a story, then someone's going to have got predictions right anyway.
Yes,
so you know.
True. And to be fair, like, we threw everything except the kitchen sink, and Jed still managed to, surprise us and make it a really entertaining affair. So forgot to ask, we got a 9.5 from Mario, Rebecca, but what would you give this issue 29, the last hours of Moonlight?
I give this a 9.
Yep.
I don't know why. These are gut feelings at this point where it gets to that sort of half, anywhere between sort of 9 and 10 or 8.5 and 10, I guess, just like how it resonated with me at the moment I read it. So I think I warmed to 28 more than this one, but I loved how much this got. I mean, I still love this one. 9's incredibly good. So
look, I agree as well. I give it a 9. I really do enjoy it, and it's one of those things, I wonder, rereading it or years later when the run is kind of done and we know what's happened and canonically things have moved forward. Yeah, it's kind of like because a lot of the impact, I think, was the reveal of Ryan Trent and Plesko, which were huge impacts. The art was fantastic. I loved it. But yeah, in the moment, I guess what I'm saying is that when I read it, and just as I read it as a first time, I think 9, very solid. For something that is heading towards the end of an issue of a run. I think it's really got everything happening. It's got us wanting more. So a huge accolades. So Loonies, you've heard it there. The likes of Mario, Rebecca, and myself, high 9s. So definitely check it out. Love to hear what everyone thinks of it as well. Tell us your thoughts on Discord or on the Facebook page. We're still kind of active there. But
yes, I was just looking to see if anything had happened on Discord, and it was just something stupid I posted, so we can ignore it. It's not worth mentioning, and potentially a spoiler for something else. But no, I'm looking forward to 30 now. I thought I thought we'd be dreading it more, but I think like there is something nice about being able to come to terms with it in advance.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's good. I really enjoyed it too, and I think it's traveling so well. I think there's reason why this has been critically acclaimed, this run, and loved by fans as well. It's a pretty solid run. So Jed, got to take his hat. So I can't wait. I mean, it's not over yet. I mean, we've got Vengeance. So, but this chapter will be over, and I think Jed's done really well in bringing it all together over 30 issues. That's all we have time for now, Rebecca. It's been a wonderful as always.
Always great.
I'll just throw up onto at least our screen here. If you want to get in contact with us, this is slightly outdated. You can email us on feedback@itkmoonlight.com. We've got the website as well. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, but also Discord and Blue Sky. So all you have to remember is do a search for ITK Moonlight, all one word, and you should be able to find us on the Google.
The Google.
the Google. As Finn always says, Googleplex. He loves that. He loves that term.
Oh, bless him. That's a lovely word a lovely way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. Rebecca, anything just before we go by way of spectacles that you'd like to give a shout out to?
No, I'm good. Listen to the latest DCAU, the Christmas DCAU one is our 100th. We just recorded our 100th episode. DC League of Super Pets or whatever that one's called, which was fun. Like clearly not really a DCAU film, but a lot of fun. So. Alan manufactured it so we could do the animals. No, it actually worked out quite well that was our 100th. What about you? How's your other? What else you've been dipping your fingers into?
Nothing yet. It's a bit tricky this time of year, I guess.
It's very hard this time of year.
Yeah, so I will say though, I might say it. I will say it. Predator and Prey podcast about Predator, Yaucha. There will be an episode coming out. Sparky, one of our hosts, she'll be doing a solo episode on that, so that should be really cool. It's on just on the more of the Yaucha culture, so if you're a really big Predator fan,
interesting. Remind me to listen to that one once you've done it.
It'll be very cool. And also as well, I'd be remiss if I didn't say Gang War is out, and the first issue of Spider-Woman, which we've been all looking forward to, all the Spider Babies. Again, just trying to tee up with Saren, because of course towards the end of the year it's a bit hard. But we will get a review of issue 1, and I'm just chasing down Steve Fox. I hope he can join us for that. Yeah, but check it all out. Just keep your ear to the ground, and go check out Rebecca's shows as well. It's all great. Rebecca, thank you once again.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody for listening. And as always, may Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Yeah, take care.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.